I know you want to see me. So today, I'm going to read a poem in my class.
We are proud of you. Alright, so we're going to be having an item now from Deborah Nika Holness. Little Holness?
Yes, miss.
Remember to speak.
A poem about Paul Bogle and the Morant Bay Battalion. The roads are rocky and the hills are steep. The maca stretches and the gullies deep. The town is far, news travel slow, and the mountain men have far to go. Bogle took his cutlass at Stony Gut and looked at the small heap of food he got, and he shook his head and his thoughts were sad. You can walk like a mule, but the crap's still bad. Bogle got his men and he led them down over the hills to Spanish Town. They chopped their way and they made a track to the governor's house, but he sent them back. As they trod back home to Stony Gut, Paul's spirit sank with each bush he cut. For the thought of the hungry St. Thomas men who were waiting for the message he bring to them, they couldn't believe that he would fail, and their anger rose when they heard his tale. Then they told Paul Bogle of Morant Bay, and the poor man find there yesterday. Then Bogle thundered, this thing is wrong. They think we weak, but we hillmen strong. Rouse up yourself, we'll march all night to the Vester House, and we'll claim our right. The Monday morning was tropic clear, as the men from Stony Gut drew near, cleansing their sticks from their farmer's hand, to claim their rights in their native land. Oh, many mourned and many were dead that day when the Vester flames rose red. There was chopping and shooting, and when it done, Paul Bogle and the men knew they had to run. They ran for the bush where they hoped to hide, but the soldiers poured in from Kingston side. They took their prisoners to Morant Bay, where they hung them high in the early day. Paul Bogle died, but his spirit talks anywhere in Jamaica that freedom walks, where brave men gathered and courage thrills, as it did in those days in St. Thomas Hills. Just a few corrections to the verses the maca scratches, for he thought of the hungry St. Thomas men, but we hillmen strong. Rouse up yourself, and we'll march all night. Paul Bogle and his men knew they had to run.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's unmute and give her a clap. Can you believe that these children are...
A poem about Paul Bogle and the Morant Bay Battalion. The roads are rocky and the hills are steep. The maca stretches and the gullies deep. The town is far, news travel slow, and mountain men have far to go. Bogle took his cutlass at Stony Gut and looked at the small heap of food he got, and he shook his head, and his thoughts were sad. You can look at a meal, but the crab's still bad. Bogle got his men, and he led them down over the hills to Spanish Town. They chopped their way, and they made a track to the governor's house, but he sent them back. As they trod back home to Stony Gut, Paul's spirit sank with each bush he caught. For the thoughts of the hungry St. Thomas men who were waiting on the message he bring to them, they couldn't believe that he would fail, and their anger rose when they heard his tale. Then they told Paul Bogle of Morant's Bay, and the poor man find there yesterday. Then Bogle thundered, "This thing is wrong. They think we weak, but we hill men strong. Rouse up yourself, we'll march all night to the vestry house and we'll claim our right." The Monday morning was tropic clear as the men from Stony Gut drew near, cleansing their sticks from their farmer's hand to claim their rights in their native land. Oh, many mourned and many were dead that day when the vestry flames rose red. There was chopping and shooting, and when it done, Paul Bogle and his men and the men knew they had to run. They ran for the bush where they hoped to hide, but soldiers poured in from Kingston's side. They took their prisoners to Morant's Bay, where they hung them high in the early day. Paul Bogle died, but his spirit talks. Anywhere in Jamaica that freedom walks, where brave men gathered and courage trails, as it did in those days in St. Thomas Hills. Just a few corrections to the verses. The marker scratches, for he fought of the hungry St. Thomas men, but we hill men strong. Rouse up yourself, we'll march all night. Paul Bogle and his men knew they had to run.
Sweet Jamaica, man, I land that. Me no stop love it. I mean, know the whole massive love it and them respect it, man. Hear this? A lot of mercy. Help me big up Jamaica, the land of wood and water. The system might not proper, but we love the vibe, the food and the culture. Whoa, can't you see the beauty of this country?